Hi there, I'm Mr. Yule. I'm back, and this time I have two new beautiful assistants. This is
Shayna,
and this is
Alexis.
That's right. And today we're going to tell you some stuff about a man named Job and what happened to him when God tested him. So Job was a really good guy. He had a great big family. Everyone thought he was wonderful and he loved God, and God was very proud of him. But there came a tough time in Job's life, and God tested Job so that we could see if Job was truly loved God because he loved God, or did he just love God because God was good to him? And so lots of bad things happened to Job. And at the end of it, God came and talked to Job about what happened. And part of what God asked Job is, you questioned a lot what happened to you, Job, and you questioned me about, was I being fair to you? Do you not trust me? Don't you know how much more I know about life and animals and everything around you than you do? And Job listened as God asked him questions, and Job realized, I don't know a lot compared to God. I don't know anything compared to God. So I have to be honest with you, there was one thing that Job knew that was truly amazing. What he knew that was truly amazing is he said, I don't care what happens to me. I know that my Redeemer, God, is there for me. When everything ends, I know that in the last day, I'll be standing before my God and he'll welcome me into heaven. So Job really was a very loving and kind man, and he knew and trusted God. So what we're going to do is, these girls have been drawing some pictures for me, and what they drew is a picture of what we call a flat man. A flat man lives in flatland. By the way, Shayna, did you name your man? What do you want to call your flat man?
Flatty.
Flatty. Okay, so we have Mr. Flatty. And Alexis, did you name your flat person?
Flippy.
Okay, so we're going to be looking at Mr. Flatty here because I only can show one picture at a time. And Mr. Flatland lives in Flatland, and he's sort of like us. And so there he is. There's the picture of Mr. Flatland. He's living in Flatland. Let me scoot this thing forward so you can see him a little bit better. There's Mr. Flatland, and we're going to turn him around so he's right side up to you. Now, right now, Mr. Flatland doesn't have any features, so we're going to give him a couple features. I think Mr. Flatland, who lives in this piece of paper, he needs to have an eye. So we're going to give him an eye. There's his eye, so he can see things. And do you think Mr. Flatland should have a heart?
Sure.
Yeah, so we're going to give him a nice heart here. There's his heart. And do you think Mr. Flatland can think of ideas and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're going to show him being really surprised. So that's an exclamation point. So he's surprised by something. He's probably surprised that he has his first idea. And so there's our Mr. Flatland, and he's living in the land of flat. That's Mr. Flatty in the land of Flatland. He can't see us because he can only see what's ever in the piece of paper. So if we were to put something in the piece of paper, he could see that, but he can't see. He's like, wow, all of a sudden there's something in front of me. No idea where it came from because he can't see us. So, however, we can see Mr. Flat. So one of the things God tells us is that he is always with us. And he's really, really close to us. And we look around and say, I don't see him. So, Alexis, can you show me how close you can get to Mr. Flatland, but he still can't see you? Put your hand right on top of him. Yeah, can he see you?
No.
He can only see what's in the paper. How close are you? You're really close. Matter of fact, you are so close you're touching his heart. Well, God says he can touch our heart, but we don't see his hand reaching inside of us, because we're sort of like that flat person. God has access to us that we're not aware of, but God says, I'm right next to you, and we look around, I don't see anybody, but God's right there with us. There's something else here. Shayna, can you see the man's heart? Can you see Flatty's heart?
Yeah.
That's one of the things God says to us. I can see your heart. I can see what you're feeling. The other thing he says is, I know your thoughts. So what is Mr. Flatty's thought right now? I think I see a thought in his head. What is it?
An exclamation point.
Yeah. And he's like, how do you know what I'm thinking? Well, we can see what you're thinking. So to Mr. Flatty, we're sort of like God, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if Mr. Flatty was Job, he'd be going, how does he know so much? Well, I think maybe that's why God knows so much about us, is that he can actually see right into the center of us. He can see everything about us at the same time, just like we can see everything there is to see about Mr. Flatty. Well, Mr. Flatty wants to see God. So let's see, the only way I could get Mr. Flatty to see you, Shayna, if you're his God, is we'd have to cut him out of that piece of paper. If we cut Mr. Flatty out of Flatland, do you think he'd survive? No, no. Matter of fact, one of the things the Bible tells us, no man can see God and survive. So in the body that you have right now, we'd have to cut you out of this universe so you could see God, and you wouldn't be here anymore. So to us, it looked like you weren't surviving. So we're quite a bit like Mr. Flatty. Well, I'll tell you what. How could we show Mr. Flatty, Shayna? What could we do? Could we like poke a finger through the piece of paper?
No, that would leave a hole.
Well, what would he see if you poked your finger through the paper? He would see you, right? What would he see?
My finger.
What would he see? What would your finger look like to him?
A hole.
Well, or a circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's Shayna's finger sticking through the piece of paper. It just showed up as a circle. And now Mr. Flatty says, oh, I've seen Shayna. She's a circle, because she stuck her finger through there. But Shayna knows, well, wait a minute, I'm more than just a circle. Well, really, what else are you? So you stick 2 more circles through there. And now, Mr. Flatty, what does he see?
He sees 3 circles.
And whatever that was, yeah.
And a little cloud.
Yeah, whatever that was. But that wasn't Shayna. So Shayna now has 3 fingers sticking in Mr. Flatland's world, Mr. Flatty's world. And now he thinks, Shayna's 3 circles. And Shayna's going, I'm not 3 circles, I'm 1 girl. Well, for those of you who know a little bit about the Bible, we say that God is 3 and God is 1. And this is an example of how God can be 3 and God is 1. We see 3 different circles, but he's the same God. So that could be, the circle is the Father, the circle is Jesus, the circle is the Spirit. So those are examples of, I hope you learned a little bit about how much bigger God can be than us. Just like we're a lot bigger than Mr. Flatty, can God be bigger than you and me?
Yes.
You bet. All right, girls, you did a great job. Say goodbye.
Bye.